Welcome to episode 253 of the Overlook Hour. I'm your host, Clark Little. Along with me, as always, is the man over in Oakland, California. He says he has a comforter on his bed. Russell and I disagree. It's Randy Michaelstadt.
That's me. Yeah, I can sleep anywhere, so I really don't have high standards for what my level of sleeping and bedding situation is like.
Now, Randy, I fly home. Keep this on the DL. My mom should not. By the time my mom listens to this, the jig will be up. But
she doesn't listen, does she?
No, I tell her not to. I'm flying home to surprise her for her 60th birthday, which I have been planning with my sister, which I love my sister to the moon and back.
To the moon.
I hate planning things with her. It's driving me crazy. But regardless, it's not her, it's me. I'm just a horrible person. But it's a red eye, and so when I get off the plane, I gotta hang out with the kids until 5 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, I gotta surprise my mom, and then I won't sleep for I have no idea how long. So, Brett, give me some tips on how to sleep on this plane, brother.
Put on noise-canceling headphones, but don't actually put on any music, and just zone out. Just turn your brain off. You just gotta go to sleep.
Dude, do you remember our forever friend Chris Bavoda?
Yes.
When he was talking about wearing the noise canceling headphones,
No.
and how they instantly made him puke on the plane.
Really?
Yeah, he said it was something about his equilibrium.
Oh man.
He would turn them on, and he thought because he also had problems sleeping, he had them on the plane, and they got in the air, and he just puked, like wouldn't stop.
Jesus.
Turned them off, and then he went on another flight and was didn't wear them. He was fine. And then he put them on. He said the minute he flipped them on, he puked again. Like it would just make his body like reject whatever was in his stomach.
Well, I don't have to worry about that because I'm not rich enough to afford noise canceling headphones because I'm not rolling in Bitcoins.
I don't know. Bitcoin's been having like a bad week, so I don't actually know. I haven't checked in a couple of days.
Also joining us is Russell John, the Fisherman.
What up?
How are we?
I'm good. I just read another dumb article. I had a question for you guys.
I have an answer.
Same.
Now, I don't know why metalheads like they identify as that.
I'm out.
It had been one forever. But other fans like country heads, I don't know, Randy, post-rock indie
I'm
head.
sorry, country
Sure.
head?
Yeah. So I don't know.
We're called Americans, brother.
There are articles all the time published that are kind of like things we learned about metalheads, and they're always like positive. Like I'm sure you've read plants listening to music, and they always do better with metal, and like classical's always like right behind.
They always do worse with metal.
No, it's always
Incorrect.
positive. No, and I just read another one. It was 12 things we found out about metalheads. And it's like they're happier people, and it talks about dealing with aggression. Another one is like I don't know. It's all positive shit. Oh, one of them was they're more likely to have sex in a car.
Hell yeah.
Which I thought was strange. But do articles come out about like, things we learned about people who listen to country?
No, because that's everyone in America.
Okay, so maybe it is like a majority minority.
You do understand
thing.
it's the most popular genre in these states united.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean,
which
it could
is
be anything.
not a positive thing because modern country music is the worst thing in the history of the world.
Well, what about like jazz?
What about
It's like things we know about people who like jazz.
Yeah, they like fedoras and dusty closets.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been good though. We've been talking about this since I got home. Again, it's a Friday and we're recording because you scheduled a surprise party that threw everything off.
Well, the problem is that I did not account for the terrible, terrible internet access that my mother has. And I didn't want to experience that. Frankly.
No, I get it. We bumped a guest. We're recording after work. It's great.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, I'm very excited to be doing this on a Friday night. As the minute we're done here, I have an open weekend. Where normally I carry some anxiety about the show and our guest, and I don't know. Did we figure out the guest thing? I kind of, what I'm lobbying for. I would love to see an interview with you and your nephew.
I'm working on that.
All right, because we talked about him a lot. I like the kid.
He's going to be in baseball camp, though.
I'm rooting for him, and I know that you're going to be stuck hanging out with him for a while. So, good opportunity there. Anyway, again, I have a lot of FOMO because my favorite late night host called it wraps for good this time.
Craig Kilborn?
And yes. and Conan's done. And you know what? I feel bad because I don't think I watched one episode of his show with Andy Richter back. And I mean it. Like when I was in high school.
You don't watch any TBS?
I didn't watch any of it.
It was good.
I love him. And I mean, I've watched the YouTube clips with you that have millions of views. Like, honestly, is he just pivoting into other platforms or?
He's going to HBO.
Oh, he really is going to HBO.
Yeah.
And he's got a podcast.
Yeah, but fuck I can't do a podcast.
The podcast is.
Why would you do that? He's a late night host. You can watch video with him.
Half of the podcast is commercials.
Really?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Randy, confirm.
It's quite a bit. Yeah.
Thank you so much. What?
I'm done. Did you want more from me?
Yeah. What was that? What just happened?
I was signaling I was turning on her mic. And we do sign language impromptu, and I don't know.
I don't know what just happened. We were in the middle of a conversation, and then you were just like, ha, I'm done.
Yeah.
What?
Pretty much.
All right. Conan. Last night I watched a little bit. I didn't watch the whole episode, but I watched a couple clips on YouTube. Jack Black was the last guest. Jack Black had a great. Now, what happened is that, again, since I didn't see the entire episode, I think they were shooting something with Jack Black where it required him to run, and he did several takes. And on the last take, he sprained his ankle. So when he came on stage, he had a boot on and a cane, which I just feel like Jack Black should always have a cane. It just seems natural. It's a prop. He can work with it.
He looked natural with it. Yeah. Very.
And then he did a version of Frank Sinatra's My Way, but with specialized lyrics played by the Basic Cable Band. And it was great.
Yeah, I didn't stick around for that.
I may or may not tear it up a little bit.
I did too. And that's why I almost pulled the clip. He gives an authentic I love you to Conan.
Yeah.
And it kind of like throws him off and he says it back. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to use that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm trying not to take up a long amount of time. As last week you did a great segment and it clocked in around 10 minutes when you listened to it back. And then what did mine clock in at?
About 12.
Like a half hour?
About 12.
Okay, that's not too bad. I really thought I might have doubled yours. So yeah, I don't know. I'm bummed about Conan, but it's mostly just guilt because I didn't really support it.
Yeah, the TBS endeavor.
It might just be an age thing too, because I feel like the millennial group that he really touched on, because my parents were never a fan, and I always tried to get them on board because they would watch other late night shows. I'm like, why don't you watch Conan? I actually like that one. Never worked with them.
So another podcast I was listening to today, which I will not mention because I don't plug other podcasts on this show, but the former writer of Conan, who was their guest, and he was talking about how the audiences have changed over the years. And the host of this program actually used to do warm-up for Conan and audience warm-up, where essentially, for people who don't know, when you go to a taping, typically there's a person there who is in charge of getting the crowd energized before the show and in between commercial breaks. Typically it is a stand-up comedian, or sometimes it's just a person throwing out t-shirts. One of those things. But regardless, he was just talking about how the audiences have changed in like so much, where they had a sketch several years ago where Conan was big with the audience pop-ins. Like it would just be, he would have plants in the audience, and sometimes celebrities, but it would always be a lot of gags in the audience. And there was one where something happened with a drummer. The main drummer on the show wasn't there, and then someone popped up and said, I'm a drummer, and it was Max Weinberg.
Mm-hmm.
And the audience's reaction was like,
who?
Yeah. I had no idea. I would have flipped out. I love Max Weinberg.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just a millennial thing. It's attention and the internet. I think it's just like ruined that format, at least for him, because that was like, dude, I watch YouTube And I've seen him on there. Never once watched his TBS show. So actually, maybe it's just a cable thing, like how we take it in.
Yeah.
He'd probably do better if he just had a show on Amazon Prime.
I hope all his stuff stays up on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sure somebody's making money off of it. I don't think it's going to go away.
Yeah, hope not.
Or somebody will rip it, as is the internet. It will never go away now.
For a while, he couldn't have his NBC stuff.
Oh.
I think that got worked out. But for a while on TBS, he couldn't do the characters that he had on that show because it was property of NBC.
Oh.
So they couldn't do Masturbating Bear. They couldn't do...
It's a good one.
The Interrupter, who was my favorite.
Yeah.
You know, so...
R.I.P. I guess not, though, because he's going to HBO.
Yeah, but I don't know what that show is.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be another late night thing, but probably not.
I
then.
don't think so.
All right.
No details have been given, really, from what I can tell. Except one TMZ asked him what the new HBO show would be, and he said a naked cooking show.
Rad.
All right. Is it time
for
the
guest? Keep going.
From TBS to...
Oh, no. We still have a guest. Also, I don't know, are we going to intro Oksana?
Also joining us is Oksana Valerian Osachi.
Hi, I'm here still.
All right.
And now she's gone.
All right, good enough. Then I guess it is time for our official show to start with our guest who does that now, whom you also forgot about.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, well, he's here again. So here we go.
Sorry, DL.
Mike's all yours.
Good morning. It's June 25, 2021. And if you can believe it, it's a Friday once again. Today, I'm thinking about Lou Reed and his version of This Magic Moment.
Ugh.
Everyone, have a great day.
All right. And he's gone.
Head trauma.
And it is a
No
Friday.
doubt in my mind.
Head trauma. All right, fine. I guess it's time for the TBR report.
The TBR report.
Now, does he... Now, Thomas Burke, he always writes an email. Thomas Burke, again, is the found footage adventurer who will keep me on track watching found footage horror movies that I never... Actually, not this week. We're doing a sci-fi edition. And I need to read through this because I should have done more work.
Sucks, dude.
Nope.
All right. So Thomas Burke, in his email, writes, this recommendation comes as a complete 180 to last week's recommendation of Voodoo, as I bring to you a science fiction mockumentary called Alistair 1918 from 2015. A World War I soldier accidentally time travels to present-day Los Angeles. Filthy, penniless, and with no way to prove his identity, he struggles to find his way back to his wife in the year 1918. Now, this is Thomas again. When we talked this week, and you mentioned that you're totally okay with receiving something that was perhaps slow, challenging, and maybe even a little boring, I say this. It might be the most boring best movie I've ever seen. It's essentially a slow-burning, heartstring, thought-provoking sci-fi flick. So for the listener's consideration, it's not anything action-packed, and it really isn't high-budget either. But to me, I felt like there's really something hidden here. Plus, it gives me vibes similar to Skyman. So if you enjoyed that one, please don't sleep on Alistair 1918, available on Amazon Prime.
Oh.
All the best, Thomas Burke, from the Thomas Burke Report, TBR, LLC, MD, not a medical doctor. I will tell you. Okay, so later on, I'll be covering Super Shangri-La, which we watched on Wednesday. And we hung out after. It was a lot of fun on the street out there in Balboa. But I came home and immediately threw on this film because I knew we didn't have a lot of time and I really wanted to get the TBR report in.
Randy, this is about an 11 past 11 p.m.
Excuse me?
Poo.
Now, it was late and I'm like, of course, this is going to be the one where I was like, dude, Tom, they don't all have to be bangers. They don't all have to be insane. Give me something a little challenging or thought-provoking or boring. And of course, he really ran with the boring. So through it. Actually, the past couple of films I had to rent, and there's always the option to buy with these movies, and it's like maybe double the price. So like a $2 rental will be like a $5 purchase. This one I believe was what, $2.99 to rent and $12.99 to buy. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking buy it. So we bought it.
You bought it?
I bought it, and I'm like, I know this is the boring one, and I'm like, let's just do it. I pulled the trigger. So, oh man. Now the synopsis. This film starts with a typical faux documentary crew. We have a girl who's going to be on screen and directing, and we have her crew, which is a boom mic dude and camera dude, and they're doing a film on homeless. And it's like, okay, that's pretty timely, even though this came out in 2015. And they're just kind of walking around getting interviews on the street. I will say the interviews they get are a little bit different than they would be now, I'm sure, as the homeless epidemic has definitely gone much further in the conversation farther. But quickly, we kind of like move from the street into Griffith Park in LA, which I'm not familiar with. Randy, have you been there?
Once or twice, yeah.
Okay. I always think of you whenever I think of like films that kind of like love LA like this, like they
Sure.
wander around and go to location. I'm like, I wonder if Randy's been here. So they go to Griffith Park where they see a homeless man in a war fatigue. And they start talking to him, and this dude claims to have fought in a war. He was in an explosion that timed with another explosion in which he fell out of the sky and landed on a shipping container in the year 2015.
In the year 2015.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because the acting in this movie is pretty good. It feels like they're kind of doing a loose script thing. Like they're finding the story, or maybe like dialogue isn't scripted. This dude, though, pops in the scene. He's got his war fatigue on, he looks dirty. And I'll tell you, one of the problems I have with like homeless people being represented in movies, or just like, I don't know, scary Southerners who live in a trailer, they never look authentically dirty. Like, when somebody like puts a little bit of dirt on your face, you can tell when it's for a fucking movie. This guy looked dirty. He did not look like he had been in an explosion, though. He looked like he was wearing a rented fatigue. Like, it looked perfect, just dirty.
He does not look like he's been in an explosion.
Well, that's where he entered the wormhole. He was in a something detonated.
I understand, but have you ever been in an explosion?
Fair point. Touche. I just imagined that maybe his clothes would be a little torn, or like maybe a little burnt.
I mean, look, on this very show, we talked about the same thing with the film My Heart Will Only Beat Unless You Tell It To, and where we were talking about the amount of blood coming out of a human body.
Oh, that's true.
And we were corrected by the filmmaker himself, who told us that he did the research, and that's about the
fair
amount
point
of blood. So
what you're saying is I should be in an explosion before I comment on the verisimilitude?
yes, please.
Okay.
Please die.
Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe I'll be thrown through a wormhole. Actually, I'd work through. So this is a sci-fi feature. It's mostly a drama with like a sci-fi tilt to it. I mean, okay. So what am I looking for in a faux documentary? I normally like elements of the film crew are the bad guy. And I think one of the best examples would be Long Pigs.
Yes.
Where you really learn, like, at a certain point, the documentary crew, or even in Man Bites Dog,
Man by Dog, very similar.
They become like part of the problem.
Complicit.
And you might even say they're egging it on. Like they're getting a more brutal performance out of an already dark character because they're acting for the camera. And in this film, it's not that at all. The dude we run into, whose real name is Guy Birtwistle. Now, apparently he's the star and he wrote this script too. And the faux documentary filmmaker, Annie McVeigh, she's the actual director too. So that always changes the film a little bit. The thing is, this movie is really like it felt like a play. Like the way the characters were written and the things that happened felt like they should be very emotionally impactful, except that when we're dealing with like a handheld camera, it always kind of leans into action, that unstable, like we're not on a tripod feel. And tonally, it kind of felt real in a boring way. And it was interesting because you hear this dude who's instantly like charming. Like, you like this homeless guy. And even though his story just seems like ludicrous, you're kind of interested when he's showing him how he's been living off of squirrels. Yeah, he's been catching them in a cooler. And they're like, well, do you cook them? And he's like, of course I cook them.
That's good eating, dude.
So he walks them over to a nearby camp, and he shows how he like gets charcoal and lights a barbecue.
How's he killing the squirrels?
They didn't get into that.
Boo.
That's a good, yeah, that's interesting. Because that would be a character flaw, maybe.
Man, how's he killing these squirrels, dude?
They show his trap. He makes a trap out of a cooler.
Yeah, the cooler they get to. And I mean, I imagine they would suffocate in there. It seemed pretty, like the audio was good there. Like that lid closes and you feel it. Anyway, this is a weird film to talk about. Now, I mentioned he went into a wormhole.
Yeah.
So I don't even know.
What is the difference between a wormhole and a black hole?
I believe a black hole is, your favorite film, 2001. Mm-hmm. The idea of like nothing being in the center of it. It's kind of like a drain to the universe. Where I think a wormhole is kind of what we're hoping for.
A portal?
Yeah, where it's kind of like a bend in time so that you could travel quicker without actually doing the light speed travel.
Yeah, I'll take the black hole.
Okay. So in this movie, we kind of get into how could this be real? And the way that we do, well, first I should mention that the filmmaker here, the lead, the female seems to be extra interested in our subject. And she starts buying him stuff.
Like in a horny way?
You get that vibe. By the end of the movie, you might not think so when it's revealed that she just broke up with her girlfriend. It's a little complicated. I'll tell you, the hallmark of this movie...
Girls are bisexual.
Could be a Hallmark movie. And it's really just a drama that's paced like real life. At no point in this movie is there anything on the exterior that's really like pushing this plot forward. It kind of feels like, hey, this guy's homeless and we'd like to help him, but I mean, we'll get to it. And it feels like the passage of time is kind of like real life. He's chilling at the shipping container where he landed because he thinks maybe one day it will open back up. So there's really like no rush. And you just really get that voyeurism. That's, when you're aware of it, it can really change the mood of a movie. Like this film starts to turn into, are they exploiting this dude? Like, she invites him over to her house and is like, hey, you can sleep on my couch and I'll help you. And he's kind of got the attitude of like, I'm not looking for your help. I just want to get my wife. So when that becomes like painfully clear and he's just like, look, stop giving me shit. I need to get home. They go on YouTube and they find a scientist who's been covering wormholes. Now, I can't remember which TBR it was, but we praised the film for having a great news anchor. Like it was one of the best parts of the movie. It was
very good.
Great news anchor. This one, no. She's awful, and she's talking about wormholes, and you can tell it's important to the plot. But when they get to like, how does a wormhole work? They fucking yada, yada, yada that shit multiple times in the third act of this movie. And instead of offering any like verbal context or like explanation, she just walks around with a ton of equipment. So she'll be wheeling like a suitcase with her that's supposed to have stuff. Like at one point they try to open a wormhole and she pulls out 2 like phantasm balls that are on like little placards.
Yeah.
And there's some CG that happens, which is startling in the third act of that movie. But if you're coming into this looking for a great sci-fi narrative, you're not going to get it. I'll tell you, the thing I loved most about this is it's a thing that I don't talk about a lot on this show, but I firmly believe in. And it's that, people from 100 years ago, they weren't any stupider than you and me. And I feel like a lot of, the modern man, there's a presentism there. And we always think like people back in the day were just dumber. And there's a moment in this movie that I love and I'll always remember. And, our filmmaker, she buys him a phone and she's like, this is so I can get in contact with you. And she gives him a camera so he can document himself in the third act of this movie, which I thought was really interesting. And when the boom guy really likes our lead and he's like, aren't you amazed at cell phones? And the guy's like, no. He's like, we had telephones in, 1918. He's like, yeah, man, but there's no wires on this one. And he's like, yeah, we also had radios. And he's like, don't call me stupid. And I don't know why. I fucking love that moment. Also, there's a great little montage where the dude takes the camera and documents himself as he quiets his depression by going to a bar. And I don't know why. It's so good.
Does that work?
I don't think so, and it didn't for him in the movie. But Randy, there's one moment that I think you would dig where they're going around LA and they find a flea market, and you can tell it's just these people. Like, if we're going to compare it to like Fat Tuesday, where we have a like pro in Jorge Torres navigating a crowd and filming the narrative, this film is it's theater people walking around in public, and the first thing you see, because they come down some stairs and they make a right into like the lane of all the little merchant tents, the first thing you see is people walking right at the camera staring into it. And it's very like, as an audience member, you feel that. And you're like, oh shit, like they're really doing this right now.
Yeah.
And the lead he starts playing kickball with the kid, and it's like all that stuff you feel like is just like privileged, but they're kind of like acting through it. I don't know. This movie's great. I don't know if I would ever recommend it to anybody though. There's so much content out there right now that you really want to examine like the form of documentary and maybe like theater to film and just like navigating that stuff. Like, other than research, I don't know that I would ever recommend this to anybody.
Is it the best boring movie you've ever seen?
You know, I was trying to like come to grips with that mentally. Like, what could that mean?
Spotlight.
Well, I think it's kind of like,
right, Randy?
I don't know if I'd call it boring, but
it's boring.
Well, Randy loves French New Wave. And, you know, one of the things about the French New Wave was how it could embody like real life, like the way real life feels as opposed to like studio.
I also
Hollywood.
watched Satantango in a theater.
Cool.
So I'm good with boring is what I'm saying.
Everyone at this table, I have breaking news. The Severin sale is up now.
All right. When this goes up, they'll not
Just
be
so you
helpful.
know it's live.
All right, cool. Are you going to order anything right now?
Yeah. I'm getting some Al Adamson, dude.
All right. I could see you navigating your computer and your glasses the whole time. So,
well, I'm doing research.
okay.
Plus, this is show related.
So,
as we promoted this last week.
As far as boring, I mean, so y'all make fun of me for how I rate movies on Letterboxd as far as entertainment value. Now, this movie kind of throws a curveball in there, and it's not fun, but it's also like it's interesting still.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it like entertaining. This would be a 3, and I don't know if that checks out with my entertainment scale or not. What would you think about Oksana? I know you fell asleep through the third act, but
I did. I mean, it had the story is really good, and the acting is like sometimes like lukewarm for
who didn't you like in the movie?
I thought the
boom guy's a little rough.
Yeah, like the secondary characters get like they feel like theater actors, but like I mean, the guy who played Alistair was great.
Yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah, that's Guy Burt Whistle,
and he's a director.
No, he's the writer and the star.
Oh, okay.
The actual head of the documentary is the actual director. Yeah, who in her day job she directs theater too. So
I think 3 is like fitting for this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to give it a 3. As far, I don't know if anybody's been following along with these TBR reports, but if you're into found footage in like the in-world camera format, this might be an interesting one to check out. Don't put it on the top of your list. Go watch Voodoo first and, see what it's like to explore a house like a haunt and then transition into hell and then watch Conan Painted Red rape a woman and then come around here. And his relation to Skyman Skyman is spot on. It's really got that kind of like real life pacing and a lot of heart. But if you don't give a shit about the characters, or if you're like on your phone throughout the movie, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd probably.
I don't like sci-fi, dude.
I don't. It's tangentially sci-fi. It's really not. It's not what the movie wants to do.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Oksana, would you recommend it to Clark?
Yeah, I think so. It's more. I think it's more drama than sci-fi.
Are there tits?
Clark would have to be in the right mood. If you came into it in the right mood, you would dig it. If you came into it in kind of like a, I don't know, short attention span mood, you'd fucking hate this movie.
98%.
I know. The stars would have to align. Anyway, Thomas Burke, love you. Oksana, what's his letterboxd again?
The Movie Archive.
Movie Archive. Go on there. He's got over 500 films. A lot of them have links to them too. So if you want to check them out, again, if you want to know why this movie's called Alistair 1918, you're gonna have to check it out. It's got one of those titular drops where you're like,
Alistair Crowley.
That would be fair. Nobody even mentions that in the movie. Actually,
Really?
I thought they might have taken a religious turn at some point, but I should also mention this film has the worst fake Zoom calls I've ever seen in a movie. Honestly, well, Zoom wasn't around then, so they were fake Skype. But like, dude, they didn't even use a computer involved. They would cut angles. It was terrible. Don't know why I felt the need to end on that, but that's going to conclude the TBR report.
This concludes the TBR report. This concludes the TBR report.
I really like that outro.
It's pretty good.
All right. What'd you end up buying, Clark?
All right. I've got my card here. Now, who knows what's going to make the cut? You understand?
Yeah, the cart doesn't mean the cut.
Exactly. Masturbating gunman.
All right.
Because I'm trying to be a good steward.
There you go.
Now, a movie that I've been wanting to order from here for a while. Cruel Jaws.
Yeah, good one.
Very much want to get
Yep.
Cruel Jaws. Also,
Good summer movie.
they have a Cruel Jaws bandana.
Oh, shit.
So, come on. Now, also, the only Al Adamson movie that looks like I could get is Brain of Blood.
Oh, you better pull the trigger. Remember, they lost. All of them went last time, so.
Yeah. And then Family Portraits, a trilogy of America.
Rad.
Do you know that one?
No. I like the name, though.
Okay.
It sounds found footage. I wasn't going to ask because I know it's probably not.
I rewatched a couple of the Severin Sellers after we talked to Zach last week, and then I did not know Simon Barrett was on I think he was the last one. I missed that one, so I watched him. He was good, but then they had a director, Douglas Buck, who was on, and he was talking about his film Family Portraits, and now it's $15. So
Bam.
yeah.
Do it. I'm down to check it out.
It's still looking, but yeah, it's live now, but a couple hours early. So wanted to get that out.
So we got to wrap this up so I can go order shit.
we can take a. You want to take a break?
No.
All right, Randy, what you got,
sir? Yes, I've been watching a couple things from the Chattanooga Film Festival, which started yesterday as of recording. Yeah, first
How's
thing.
that going?
It's good. It's pretty.
How's the setup? Is it the same or different? Because last year it was more like a VOD situation, but what is it this year?
It's pretty similar to last year. There's not as much like, you know how they were kind of like in a studio and had like all the like kind of fun like intros and stuff. There's a little bit less of that. They've been doing some like live events, none of which I've been able to attend yet, so I haven't really seen what those are like. But yeah, the like layout for watching movies is pretty much the same.
Hell yeah, man! All right, so this goes on till when?
That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure.
When's the 29th? Tuesday? Of course, the exact same time of my trip home.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man.
You know, honestly, since you're going to be gone.
But the passes are like $70.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be worth it for me.
What do you want to do, Oksana? You want to watch it Sunday? I know we're.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
We're not doing anything podcast
I know we're not
related.
recording, so.
Yeah, nice.
Damn.
Get
Yeah,
Randy
it's kinda-
over here with some 6 packs or whatever.
Damn. You trying to get him to take his shirt off?
Am I getting
wish.
movie cock again right now?
No, we could zoom you in or something.
I don't. I can't do
He's got
it.
bad internet.
Just can't. Oh man,
No hotspot?
dude, hotspots are. Let me tell you something. Not so hot. It's
No,
the not
they're
so
not
hot
good.
spot.
Speaking of hotspots, I watched a movie called The Carnivores that's playing at Chattanooga, directed by Caleb Michael Johnson. I'm going to read the plot description, then I'll go on a little bit after that.
Thank you.
Alice and Brett's dog Harvey is dying, and he's ruining everything. What had been a bright little family is quickly getting consumed by clouds of self-doubt, suspicion, and a disturbing amount of ground beef. So this movie features Lindsay Burge, who's from The Midnight Swim and The Invitation, and a bunch of other things. I like her a lot. And then Tally.
Does she like you?
Is she what?
Does she like you?
No. Nobody likes me.
Do you like her?
No, she's a good actor. I like when she appears in things.
Love me? Do you wanna be my friend? If you do, that's a song from it's called Check Yes or No. Check yes or no. It was about a young schoolboy getting a note from a young schoolgirl saying, "Do you like me? Do you want to be my friend? Check yes or no."
Just for friend?
But they're like in the second grade.
Oh, I thought that's the era of like.
Like?
Yeah.
Second grade? I don't know, dude. My first girlfriend was in 4th grade.
Ooh. How old was she?
72 years old.
Also, Randy, I pulled up the Carnivores while you were talking, and both me and Clark saw the poster and went, "Yep, that's why." Like it just has that art house.
Randy, I
look to
believe
it.
this movie is out.
I think it is now. Yeah, I believe it's out to rent on VOD and stuff already.
Because I have almost rented this actual movie.
Oh, nice.
like,
It's
oh,
it's
I
really
like
good.
meat.
It's my favorite thing. I've only seen 4 films from Chattanooga so far, but so far this is my favorite.
It's a lot of film.
Yeah,
It just started yesterday.
yeah. I don't know. I watched everything almost feature wise from last year, so I got some catching up to do.
How many features they got this year, Beb?
I don't know, 25.
Oh, goodness.
Damn.
That's
Maybe.
double.
I may not have actually counted, but yeah, The Carnivores is really good. The 2 main actresses are very solid. It's basically like a relationship movie. So yeah, Lindsay Burge's character, her dog is dying, and her and her girlfriend live together. You could tell they've had quite a long relationship. But the fact that the dog is like taking up so much of Brett is Lindsay Burge's character is taking up so much of her time and kind of like her attention. Alice kind of starts to like not freak out, but kind of get stressed out about it. And she has these, she starts sleepwalking at night, and then she has this weird thirst for meat. They're both vegan. And then so, yeah, she keeps going to like a supermarket at night and then like just staring at meat in like the grocery store. And then it kind of foreshadows potentially something that might happen with the dog that's kind of getting in between the two of them. I won't say too much more, but yeah, it's like an hour and 17 minutes long. Yeah, it's shot really well. It's shot in Austin. I think it was supposed to premiere at South by last year before it got shut down. And yeah, it looks really good. It's very much like a, there's no like CG, there's no like no frills really. It's just a really good looking indie movie. Everything's shot really well, lit really well, and yeah, it's got a good amount of style, and yeah, the actors are really good, and yeah, I like the story, and by the end it was good. I liked the ending. It was satisfied with it.
It sounds like a 3.5.
It's a solid 3.5. Yeah, it's not mind blowing, but it's really good.
Now,
I would watch it again.
If we use Raw as a reference point, is it more horror than Raw or like more art house?
It's more indie than Raw. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought maybe they were gonna go a little more into the like meat thing, which they don't. go too far into it. So yeah, it's because I was thinking kind of like the Raw comparison, like before I watched it, just from watching the trailer, and it doesn't really go too deep into that. It's more of like a relationship movie.
Is it like body horror at all?
No, not really.
Okay. I'm interested with that. Like, I don't know what the theme is with these movies about like vegetarian or vegan people kind of like being reintroduced to meat.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I'm interested. You sold me, Randy.
Yeah, it is weird that has kind of come up, yeah, a lot more lately. I don't know. Maybe just, more people are vegan these days, so I don't know. It just happens.
Or more people are mad at vegans.
Yeah, maybe. Besides that, the second thing I watched, I just finished earlier today. It's called Alien on Stage. Do any of you hear about this?
Oh, hell yeah. We've talked about it on this very show. In the intro, you weren't a part of it. That we'll give you the slip.
Oh, nice. I always listen to the intro. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but basically it's about these people that are all bus drivers from England over there. They decide to do a stage performance of the movie Alien, and it's very raw and very just like put together, very DIY. Yeah, it's a very like feel good documentary. I really enjoyed it.
That's it?
Yeah, I don't know. You guys talked about it. I don't know how much you've talked about it or how much you've seen.
We haven't seen it.
Yeah, none of us watched it. I think Charlie brought it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which means I was definitely there, and I definitely heard what he said.
I brought it up, I think, because it was screening somewhere else. But
Yeah.
I thought it was a short.
Oh,
So SF Doc Fest.
no, I did this
Oh.
during the intro too. She brought it up, and it looked. Charlie talked about a high school production.
Oh,
That's
really?
what that was. Yeah.
Now these are
That had
like
nothing to do.
all adults. So yeah, they're
Randy
like a
check.
group of people that are all bus drivers, and I think they just know people from like the bus driving company. And they
That's
spent
right.
like a year creating like very like good looking props and stuff that they just kind of like cobbled together. And then yeah, so the like first half of the documentary, maybe the first like 3/4 kind of shows them like putting everything together and like doing rehearsals. And you kind of think that it's maybe not going to go well. Like it seems like people aren't 100% remembering their lines, and it's just kind of like a kind of like goofy like group of people. And then the like last half or the last like fourth of the movie, you get a lot of footage of the actual play that they do, and it goes off really well. And people in the crowd seem to love it, and apparently they were welcomed back to do the same show like for the next year and like the year after that and something. So it's good.
Now, why Alien?
They just love the movie Alien, and they were like, "We're just gonna give this a shot. We like theater and we like Alien, so we're just gonna do a rendition of Alien on stage."
Now, how did the xenomorph come off?
It's good. You can tell everything is very you can kind of see the string, like they do like a chest burster scene, and you could definitely see like the string that's like pulling it out of the like fake chest. But I don't know, it's very charming.
Yeah,
I
right.
could see
You were
it.
sitting there going fake.
I could see it definitely being fun, being in the crowd for sure.
I like how you called them like a goofy group of people. I would say quirky, Randy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mean
blue
goofy. in
collar
a-
work.
Yeah, I mean goofy in the like best way possible.
Yeah,
One of
whatever.
them looks like Louis C.K.
Dude, I totally agree.
Look at that guy.
He looks like he's about to masturbate in that corner right there.
He's even got like his body language.
Yeah.
He's like,
The-
"Oh, I guess
the
I'll jerk off
hairline?
now."
There are plenty of women cowering around him.
Dude.
All right.
All right. Randy, anything else, babe?
No, I was going to try to watch the new Abel Ferrara film before our
Is that
show this
another
week, but
one?
yeah, it's called Siberia. It's got Willem Dafoe again, so I'll try to watch that before next week.
Oh, I can't wait. Hell of a tease there.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
All right.
Are you still over there shopping?
I'm checking out, actually.
All right. What actually made it?
All right, hold on. I think everything I told you.
Nothing sold out in that amount of time.
Well, I'm finding out now.
All right. I remember last year, the website just crashed right out the gate.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was a
nightmare.
It was a mess. Of
And
course,
I feel bad for them because, the internet with, you can say a lot. You feel emboldened when you are not talking to somebody right in their face. And people, they took every opportunity to punch. And it was very ugly. And I apologize for all of them, Severin.
all right, I have officially checked out.
You got everything?
I got The Masturbating Gunman, Cruel Jaws, Sharkmania Bandana, Brain of Blood, Family Portraits.
Whatever
Brad,
happened
I
to
didn't have-
Moose Jaws? Is that a thing still?
Hopefully it's
I hope not.
dead on the
I would
vine,
watch
though.
it. I have no interest in watching it, but I would watch it. I don't know how that is.
I did have Saint Bernard in there, but I realized you guys had it, so
Yeah.
it's like, eh.
Yeah, I was just thinking that now with Cruel Jaws. I'm like, well, if you own it, am I going to buy it?
Well, watch it.
I know, but I collect these things.
I mean, it didn't have like a cool slipcover or anything.
I know.
Saint Bernard did.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I know. Would I like that?
Yeah, you dig it.
Yeah.
I told you when I covered it on here, I think that's a movie made for you. It's fucking nuts. It's great.
I should have got it. Maybe I'll get it now. Last night I had some problems. I couldn't decide on what. I spent so much time trying to figure out what I was going to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally settled on something. I found it on Hulu, believe it or not. A horror thriller film from this year, 2021. Now, I had spent an hour trying to figure out something to watch. I actually may or may not have started 4 movies
I can't do that.
and bailed immediately.
God damn.
Those 4 movies will remain nameless and will be a mystery until the sun boils the sea. But the movie that I did commit to, I probably should have bailed as well, as this is Phobias from 2021. Has anyone heard of Phobias?
Negative.
Nope.
Great. I'm doing my job.
I mentioned it when it was screening somewhere.
So no, I've never heard of it.
This is a horror anthology that was released in March. I think it went straight to Hulu. I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, apparently it was mentioned on this very show. So thank you so much for bringing it to our attention, Oksana. All right. Here's what I think happens in this movie. There is a government agency that has kidnapped people, and they're doing tests on them, and they're testing their fears. These fears may or may not have happened. I don't really know. But they break it up into 5 short films, and I think they get worse.
That's usually the nature of
Now, the face of this movie, the star of the movie, and co-producer is Macy Gray.
it. Oh,
Hell
Macy
yeah.
Gray is the big name in this movie. The second is Leonardo Nam. Leonardo Nam plays the fake Elon Musk in the that terrible show that I didn't.
Westworld?
that I- oh wait, is that not him?
I don't know. Apparently he's in Westworld.
He's looking it up, I think, right now. And
Wait a minute, is he not in that show I thought he was in?
whoa, dude!
Oh, I don't think he was in that show I thought he was in.
What show did you think he was in?
That show about cryptocurrency.
Startup.
Yeah.
Startup. Was he in Startup? I thought he was in Startup. Dude, he wasn't in Startup. I thought it was the guy in Startup. He was in one episode of Hawaii Five-0. Oh, well.
Close.
And apparently there was a Steve Aoki documentary. He was also in that.
All right, does this change anything for you? Do you like the movie more
Kinda.
now? Okay.
No, I liked it. I like it less now.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
I thought this guy was cool.
That was the interesting thing about the movie.
Yeah, man.
Well, you like anthologies, though.
Wait a minute. No, it's definitely that guy.
You still got Macy Gray in there too, so I'm sold.
Let me tell you something. Macy Gray is going for it in this thing. So for most of the movie, she is her entire face is in bandages, but you immediately know it's Macy Gray because
Macy Gray as Renee?
Yes.
Ooh, I like that.
I'm still trying to look at this guy. He was a small character in the show. It had to be him, dude. I'm going crazy over here, man.
Question: does Macy Gray choke or stumble in the movie?
Oh my god. Good job, dude.
Yes, not him.
All right, you got any more jokes while Clark's still researching?
It's not him. They look exactly the same. That is wild.
Reach out. Maybe you found his twin.
That is wild. All right. Man, this thing, let me tell you something. So Macy Gray, all right, we're going to spoil this movie. Here's what happened. So essentially, the guy who I thought was in a startup is not a startup. He is taking care of his father. His father is, he's an older man and he forgets things. But this guy gets beat up when he's walking to the store. He gets beat up by some good boys.
Oh,
and they call him little rat face. Don't come around here, you little rat.
What the hell?
You're a little rat. And then they curb stomp him.
What?
And then they say,
wait, hold. They really do?
Well, they kick him inside. Now, the reason why I say curb stomp is because that actual word is used in a second. I'll use that.
Okay.
Hold on. But they kick him, and they're like, "Say it. Say you're a rat." He's like, "I'm a rat." He can't speak. By the way, so much CG fire in this.
Oh.
And not just CG fire, but like CG
bonfire,
electricity volts.
Oh,
like bzz, bzz, bzz. Yeah. Oh my god.
Like animated,
like cattle. Oh yeah. It honestly looks like Frankenstein.
Oh, right.
It's crazy.
Gremlins 2?
Oh man. Yeah, exactly. It's wild. So something happened and he ends up in this hospital where this the guy who plays the Mad Doctor, he needs to chill out. I'm not sure who it is, but he needs to take a chill pill because it was too much. And then essentially he's like, "Oh, well, meet this person." And then this person's like, "I don't want to be here. Here's my story." And then all the names make no sense of the shorts. I'm not sure what's going on. I paid a little attention.
Okay.
But there's one where there's a woman, and then we learn that she was a school teacher for this girl who was trying to kill her because the school teacher was having sex with this girl's father. And then her siblings were in on it. They kidnap her. And the kids are just assholes. I mean, let me tell you some foul mouths on these children.
Oh.
They're like, they said, "Why don't we just curb stomp her and slit her throat?"
Oh, damn.
He said, "We can't do this, you fucking dumbass."
Oh.
"Why not? Who the fuck cares?" "Because the neighbors will see, you stupid idiot."
Good point. Wait, do you want to hear the name of the shorts? I got them right up here.
Yes.
So there's hoplophobia.
Yeah.
Vahopophobia, robophobia, outpost 37, and aphibophobia.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
It sounds like they're trying to be cute with all of them.
It's a fear of something.
We've narrowed it down to that.
But everything changes with the Macy Gray segment. So the Macy Gray segment, this is the closer of the movie. Okay. Outside of the terrible tie together they did, which was awful. But the Macy Gray one. Macy Gray is a captain of industry. But as we learn, she's just the daughter of the boss.
Oh, aphibophobia, the fear of loathing of teenagers.
Yeah, that makes sense because they tried to kill her.
Fear or loathing of... I'm sorry, I can't read. All right, I'll come back in a moment with more.
Thank you so much. So Macy Gray is having a retreat at her house to try to solve some problems in her business sector. Now, when I say retreat, I just mean that she got these 3 people over there at her house and they're trying to brainstorm. While they're brainstorming, they're having Chinese food and drinking red wine that has been poisoned by Macy Gray. Macy Gray then turns into Buffalo Bill.
Wait, really?
So then we learn. Now, when I say that, it's not nearly as interesting as that sounds.
Okay.
Because the reason we had only been introduced to Macy Gray with her bandages on, and our main guy, the guy not from Startup, asked her, "Did they do that to your face?" She said, "No, child, I did it myself.
Oh God.
Here's my story." They don't really say that, but they might as well say, "Here's my story." Then they go to her story, where she cuts her face up. Because then they show her body taking a shower. They show her body taking a shower. They show her taking a shower. And she's got like Frankenstein monster stitches all over her body. Her fingers have been sewn back on. And we don't know why she killed these people. She puts Visqueen all over this very nice home. But there's no butchering. There's no blood. There's nothing that happens. And then it just cuts back to the hospital, and then they escape.
And that was the final?
Yeah.
Okay, so aphibophobia is the fear of youth. Then we have atelophobia, the fear of imperfection. Do you think it was that one
Maybe.
for her? Then there's robophobia.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Anxiety disorder, which the sufferer has an irrational fear of robots.
Yeah, because the not startup guy, he got a phone call from a
robot.
From a robot.
And he was like, no.
But what happened is that he was on his he was doing some Randy Nerd shit on the computer, and he had this weird messaging thing.
Uh-oh.
And it started like,
talking,
saying like, it started like basically blackmailing him.
Oh.
Say, I know who you are. And he's like, what do you want? Friend. What?
Oh, it's like her.
Friend you. Yeah, they don't use verbs.
All right.
And then they call, and it was a voice, and essentially, and then the robot tried to kill their father. Yeah.
So it was an AI or a robot?
It was an AI.
Okay, I don't think robophobia would work for that.
Nothing worked for anything in this movie.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let's see. What is the fear of AI called? I'm sure it's different.
Elon Musk disorder.
Techophobia? No,
Technophobia.
Okay. That's not a real thing.
I got technophobia.
How about Vihophobia? I don't know. The fear of driving?
Ooh.
Vihophobia. I can't do it.
Vihophobia.
Vihophobia. Fear of driving.
Vihovia.
And then we have hoplophobia, which means the fear of guns.
Ooh.
Was that one? No. Symptoms. Wait, this is dumb. Okay, we're done with that. So thumb up, thumb down.
Thumb down.
Thumb down.
Thumb down.
Really?
Way down.
You didn't even enjoy the format?
All the way down.
Anthologies usually always have like hope around the corner.
Babe, love an anthology.
Yeah.
This one ain't a good one.
What was the wraparound? Just the doctor? Or was there no wraparound?
Well, the wraparound was like it's interesting. Now it's not a traditional wraparound, because it's essentially not startup guy. Is
You really
sort of
hung up on
ties
that.
everything together.
It really bummed you out that guy wasn't in Startup, huh?
I'm flabbergasted.
You're like, my whole talking point was on that guy.
Flabbergasted. Thought it was him.
He lied to you.
Really thought it was him.
Gave you a fake
And
resume.
now I feel bad and I feel racist because they're both Asian. But I really thought it was him. Sounded like him.
Hey, the Alien documentary, Randy called that guy Louis C.K. So, it's fine. It doesn't matter what race they are. You can confuse people.
Randy, how many stars did you give the Alien thing?
That's a solid 3.
Oh my God.
All right. What about you with this movie?
I will forget I saw this in 3 months.
So a 3.
1.5 feels mean.
So do a 2.
I'll do
A 2
2.
is, I didn't like it. Wasn't for me. Maybe, people, would you recommend it to anybody?
No,
Well, okay, not of, maybe they're casual film goers.
no.
And you're like, you know what? You look like you'd love Phobias.
I wouldn't recommend this to Macy Gray fans. And I'll tell you something. She's not a bad actor.
Yeah.
I like Macy Gray as an actor. I like Macy Gray as a musical artist. To a degree.
All right.
The cover album was Macy. You just phoned that in, didn't you? Listen to Macy Gray's cover of Creep.
Oh, no, really?
It's just so sleepy and boring.
Oh, okay.
Which is just a shame because that's a great song.
Well, I mean, does she bring the I've smoked 50 packs of cigarettes voice to it? Because that might be worth it alone.
I like her voice.
I do too. There's a lot of character in it. It sounds like somebody who's really abused, their lungs.
She's lived a life.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see her Cribs episode?
No, I did
It's
not.
very good. She came across as very horny.
Nice.
No wonder she made an impression.
Hey, what are you going to do? All right.
Okay. All right. Well, man, 2 days ago on Wednesday, we went out and joined last week's. No. God, now that we're doing 2 episodes a week, I'm having trouble mapping it out in my head. 3 episodes ago, we talked to Kai, and we went out to the return of Super Shangri-La. We brought a good-sized group out there, and we met at the Balboa, which I hadn't been to during the whole lockdown. They've erected one of those parking lot, street parking food areas, and I'll tell you, it's pretty cool. Good weather, nice warm summer night. Rolled in there and I think that might be the most crowded I ever saw.
Had some good pho?
Yeah, we ate pho before. Normally I don't give a pho, but I enjoyed it a lot. And the best thing about that restaurant was that we could sit 7 people at that table comfortably. And there were 2 lazy Susans in the middle.
But you had to slum it and drink a Heineken?
No, Oksana saved me there, and she passed me the last Corona they had.
Oh.
Because their beer menu was you either get a Heineken or a Corona.
You drank the Heineken?
I did. I was in the mood for a standard beer taste,
Yeah.
I guess. So I traded him.
Yeah.
You're talking about the place that's 2 doors down from Balboa?
3 doors down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Yeah, so we hung out there, rolled. And I'll tell you, Randy, I wish you were there. It was a great night. I know, we've been living a rebellious life over here. We're putting on Film Fest, hanging out with people. Getting out there and hanging out with people who hadn't been hanging out with people straight up felt therapeutic. And I think for a lot of people in that theater, it was, I don't know, almost like a religious experience, getting back out and watching a movie in a theater. And Treasure of the Four Crowns did not disappoint. And even as a film programmer, pairing a short with the feature can be really hard. And God, I don't know how much thought Kai put into it, but he crushed it with Cleveland Smith, the Sam Raimi short from 1982. That's pretty much a parody of Indiana Jones, which almost it did set the perfect palette for Treasure of the Four Crowns, which is, oh man, how would I describe that movie? You take James Bond, you put him in a sword and sorcery movie, except the whole movie is the long drawn out kills from an Argento movie, where it's it starts and it's almost Argento kills are interesting because they're kind of what is the franchise that Randy loves? The horror?
Final Destination.
So in Final Destination, when you get the Rube Goldberg thing,
Final Destination.
the best thing about him is, when the first domino falls, you're in for this big this ride, this journey of a kill. In Argento's movies, they're always kind of surreal or dreamlike, in Deep Red or actually any of his fucking films. And you'll get these really long sequences of a dude getting scared in a hall and a picture frame falls, and then he jumps back and falls out a window and survives and gets up and walks out in the street and sees a cat and falls on the ground. A car runs over his head or something. And you're just what the fuck just happened? All of Treasure of the Four Crowns is that, where we open up with, I think, Clark's new favorite name. I think Jinko Gino was up there.
Man, how can you beat this name?
Tony Anthony
Tony Anthony.
is the actor's real name,
That's so good.
but Tony Anthony was playing the character JT Stryker in this film, who was a very Italian-looking James Bond type character.
Who was at least 20 years too old for this role?
Very, yeah. He looked like he had come out of retirement to explore the castle that he ventures in when we join him in the beginning of this film.
I have an update. Tony Anthony still with us.
Oh, really?
Born October 16th, 1937.
Let's get him on the show. Now, I call this a sword and sorcery movie because really the second, oh man, is it the second act? The end of Act 1 into Act 2 is them building the adventuring party. Now, the first 15 minutes of this movie
84
are silent. There's no dialogue as we follow our James Bond character breaking into a castle. Now, he breaks in and there's nobody here. There are no guards. It doesn't look like anybody's living there. And it really feels kind of like a gothic horror setting, except he instantly starts getting their traps set up. And he crawls through a grate and he falls down a tower and there are animals trying to kill him. And if you're a fan of horror literature or like even like tabletop games, a lot of the supernatural abilities of vampires are to control animals as they will live in a castle like this. And we had been joking beforehand that it was going to be a vampire. Like one of our reviewers from the Overlook, every time we're talking about the ecology of a monster or like the mythology, he would always kind of default to vampire. And we were joking about that. Yet in the first 10 minutes of this movie, it was really hard to argue that it wasn't going to be a vampire. So when we have our James Bond character fighting off vultures, dodging snakes, crawling through a grate, having a portcullis slam behind him, only to crawl through another portcullis to have it slam behind him, then find himself in a room with a sarcophagus and ancient suits of medieval armor. It was like, are we going to fight a vampire here? Let alone he throws off the cover of that casket and well, that's not, it was a sarcophagus. And there's just mist and a glowing light and a corpse with a weirdly shaped like scepter that he figured out the riddle to and took a little key out of. And that triggers like 5 minutes of just things being shot at this character. Now, originally, Treasure of the Four Crowns was supposed to be in 3D, which I think it was theatrically. We did not watch a 3D version. It didn't even have the anaglyphic. I think that's right. The red and blue 3D wasn't even an option here. So we just got a lot of awkward, like Friday the 13th Part 3, like, ooh, here's a skewer at the audience, which is really awkward when it's not 3D.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
Before, Kai was like, hey, this is going to be what do you call it? 3B?
Yes.
It's every time something comes at you, you have to drink your beer. So that was the drinking game he teased on the show. I'll tell you, if you were playing along with that, you'd be dead. Even if you were drinking beer. Every fucking opportunity, including a guy's crotch as he fell from the ceiling. Everything was jumping out. And I loved it.
So this film was written by Tony Anthony.
Oh, really?
And this is the last thing he ever did.
Well, you can't make a better movie.
This is the last movie he acted in.
Now, Act 3 turns into a heist film as they break into another castle and have one of the most elaborate plans to get around a trap I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh, man.
Dude, also, like...
We're gonna fly.
So the team that gets built is questionable, too. Now, we have the strong guy who's performing at a circus. And they get him because he's a strong guy, although he seems 30 years too old for this job. Yeah. He comes along with Trapeze Girl, who, while we were watching the movie, everybody was questioning their relationship.
It is split down the middle.
Yeah.
On people if they think they were a couple or father-daughter.
Yeah, like related in a familial sense or if they were getting it on.
I thought they were romantically involved.
Okay. I think I was there too. Just the way that they never really addressed it, I felt like they had to be romantic. Otherwise, it'd be like, oh, my daughter, or...
So much to the point where there's a point in the movie where both of these characters are dangling upside down to where I thought we were going to have a Spider-Man 2 kiss.
Oh, except... So, Now, if you haven't seen Treasures of the Four Crowns, do yourself a favor. Go watch it right now. It's from 1983. It's on you if this is a spoiler. Anyway, they foreshadow. They have Chekhov's heart attack, which is, you know it's coming. You just didn't know it was going to happen there.
Foretold to us by a clown named Popo.
Who became the crowd favorite.
Yeah, Popo!
Now, our old strongman gentleman has a heart attack while strapped to the harness in what was supposed to be a like Mission Impossible attempt.
And let me tell you something. He milks that heart attack.
Oh, he milks it. He falls, and it's dramatic. I felt for him. I wanted him to make it. He obviously survived something else that should have been fatal, as he had a brutal, my nose has been cut in two at some point in my life scar.
Well, yeah, he just had the look of, I'm an old, tired alcoholic.
Oh, yeah. There you go. That's fair.
He had that big, giant red alcoholic's nose. His face looked like a catcher's mitt.
And he had a heart attack while hanging from the ceiling, plunged to the floor. Now, the problem was that if anybody had touched the floor, alarms would go off because there were lasers everywhere in that room. He lands, an inch above it and hangs there dead. And the trapeze artist rappels down so she can close his eyes like they do in movies, yet they're upside down. And you're right. It was very Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Are we about to make out now? The thing that I failed to mention so far is that there's a cult, and the cult is run by a dude who wears all red in a hoodie, and he has a Triforce on his head. And they're in the process of like indoctrinating yuppies into their death cult. I'm actually not sure what the motivation of the cult was, except I was really smitten with their tambourine men who ran throughout the crowd doing 3D tambourine into the face of everybody who was about to join the cult. I'm going to track down a 3D version of this movie because I want to watch that moment. And the climax in this film is worth it alone, but I'll tell you, there's not a boring moment in this movie. I loved it. 2 separate castles explored. You get the key is haunted, and when they go to the other members of the adventuring party, they pull a drunk guy out of a mountain cabin, and that I'm not even sure why this guy was on the team.
I wanted more drunk guy. We didn't get enough.
I think they were hinting that he could climb anything.
Yeah, that was his specialty.
But
they all did the same thing.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to do the big thing, the other guy did it. But I think maybe because the climber had died. No, that's not true.
He didn't get his moment. I don't think he did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was paying attention. I think the climber drunk was just there as a like, he's going to fuck this up for us kind of thing.
Now, the gymnast girl, she did great.
She was great. Maybe the only survivor of the film. And there is the other guy who's the suited I'm gonna betray you at some point in this movie guy, who's part of the team that hired JT Stryker to go reclaim. We haven't even talked about the crowns. So in the movie
barely talks about
in the movie there are 3 crowns. One of them, after he gets out of the castle with the key, is destroyed, and they remove a gem from it. Off camera, I guess the 4th crown was already destroyed. So we come in the movie, there's only 3 crowns. And the last 2 are located in that cultist. That cult dude has a castle, which has a 2-headed statue of what seems to be like a goat rendition of Satan, who has 2 goat heads, each with a crown, locked up in 3 different room, laser protected, spike loaded, fire encrusted. The craziest room ever. It turns into a heist movie in the 3rd act, which is strange because it kind of grinds the momentum of the film to a halt. But man, it's fucking weird. I don't know, Randy. I don't think you would dig this movie.
Yeah, definitely not.
I haven't talked to Clark about it, but I think he liked it.
I liked it.
What would you give it out of 5?
3.5, easy.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like a 4 here. It's such an oddity. It clearly comes out of the American adventure film, except a lot of the Italian markets, as I learn more about like why Fulci films were the way they were, or Argento, or just like Bava, And you learn that, like, a lot of their productions, they really wanted to hit a ton of different markets with their film. And you get these kind of like American culture celebrations that are just thrown into a blender.
Yeah.
And this one, it knows what it's doing. It's just, I called this movie aggressively against exposition, as there would be like plot points, like after the first castle and our character comes back, he denies the like government job where they want him to go get the crowns, and he leaves. And he says like, fuck you. It's actually kind of a great moment. And he leaves the building. Cut. Now he's in a car with the guy he just told fuck you to, and they're going to pick up somebody to build the team.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, did he change his mind? I don't know. Those are the kind of details that we just don't waste time with in this film.
I like that guy.
The guy who was clearly going to be a traitor.
Yeah.
I did too. Yeah, he was pretty good. I also like the old guy who did the like, let me take off my glasses to see if I heard you correctly. Do you remember that moment when he first told him to fuck off? They did this thing where they showed everybody in the room their reaction of like, oh God. And then the old guy like stops, pulls his glasses down, and then like does a head tilt. Dude, it killed me.
Tony Anthony, man.
Loved it. And I highly recommend, if you're in the Bay Area, or you know what? Are you going to come visit? You going to take a vacation and come visit the beautiful Bay Area? Come look up the Balboa. It was a lot of fun. And they got corn dogs on the menu.
Oh,
and
hell
I failed.
yeah.
I know. I really wanted one.
Brandy, brand new carpet.
Brand new carpet.
Nice.
Also, somebody broke in during the lockdown,
Yeah.
stole 2 of their Godzilla posters and a ray gun off the wall. If you listen to the show, I don't know. I don't know what I was going to do there. I kind of want to threaten you, but I also would just like to know,
Inside job.
why the ray gun? That was my go-to. How do you know that ray gun's there?
Inside job. You always think inside job, dude.
You got to. Do they have cameras in there?
We've done 4 film festivals there, 3 film festivals there. They ain't got no
I
cameras
don't
in
think
there.
they have cameras. They should have had lasers and a
They
two-headed
don't have
statue.
Wi-Fi in there, dude.
They should have had a ghost shooting arrows and vultures flying around trying to kill you. They should have took some notes from this movie. Maybe in the future. Anyway, I loved it. I'm so glad Kai's like back. I don't know of any other film groups that are doing like the horror midnight kind of style showings, but Kai's back, and it was packed. So I don't know. I'm
Yeah, it was
ready for
great.
more. Yeah.
All right. Oksana, you got anything before we sign off?
I was just going to mention that the 35mm murder is also back at the Balboa.
Oh, our boy.
Yeah, our boys. Maybe we got to have them on. Get Nick and Harry in here.
What have they released a schedule?
On the 29th, they're going to show The Bride of Frankenstein on 35mm.
Oh, baby.
And if you're in the Bay Area, you'll know that the other screening of Bride of Frankenstein that was on film was at the Alamo, in which they showed the reels out of order.
Really?
Yeah, they showed it went reel 1, 3, 2.
Oh, no.
And I know that because somebody came to me after and they're like, it's weird that movie had like weird time stuff going on. I'm like, Bride of Frankenstein does not have that. And yeah, they addressed it after.
Now, we
which I
saw it
learned.
at the Stanford.
Did we? I
Mhm.
don't think I was
Years
with you.
ago.
Yeah.
We were there?
Mhm. That was the only time. That was the first time I'd seen Bride of Frankenstein. I was like,
We saw Bride.
this movie is actually a bummer.
I have no recollection of it.
We saw Frankenstein, then Bride of Frankenstein.
Bullshit.
100%.
How long ago?
Pretty sure we were living in this house.
I don't think so.
I have no
that
memory.
may not be true.
I have no memory of it.
It 100% happened.
It was years ago for sure.
Oh, well, I'm sure it was a great time. Did
Yeah,
I
it
fall
was great.
asleep? What happened?
You've been asleep for years.
I got amnesia? I don't know. I'm kind of worried. I don't know. Well, I'll go watch it with Nick and Harry. Also, if you follow them, Harry Nordlinger, these are the homies from Cinematic Oblivion, the RIP podcast. He's been killing it with the comic book stuff. He's an artist. And next time we get Jasadi in here, I'll have him talk about it because it blew his mind. It's like David Lynch meets, I don't know, insert famous comic book person. It's fucking good.
Tight.
Yeah, I wish I knew the name of it off the top of my head. We'll put it in the show notes. I'll write that down right now.
All right, so we'll be back on Thursday. Do we know what that episode is yet? No. But what do I know? It's gonna be sick. We'll see you on Thursday, baby. Bye.